have perhaps a little bit of advice when it comes to caretakers. And it's a long process, so you're probably going to need maybe more than one caretaker in your rotation um, going throughout the weeks. So going into surgery, you'll kind of want to think about who's going to take care of you through each stage. And my primary caretaker was my husband. He went with me to my initial evaluations appointments and kept me company that week. And then he was my primary caretaker during surgery and the week after surgery. So he was sitting next to me in the hospital the whole day and all night, making sure that if I ever needed anything or help adjusting anything, he was always there ready to help me. And for my first couple of days in the hospital, my mom was also there. And so she would come and spend some time with me in the hospital. And whenever she was there, then my husband would leave and take his shower and take care of his needs. Like he would get a little bit of a break and then come back. His brother, his primary caretaker, during like his initial radiation treatments, my husband went with him for some of those weeks, and I can't quite remember as much for him. Maybe his sister had gone there for a little bit, or his mom or dad. You know, his family was really helping. Like it would maybe take a week at a time. And when he went into surgery for the transplant, his wife was his primary caretaker, and she stayed for the first week after surgery. But she had to come back home because their kids were 1 and 3, and so she came back to help take care of those kids. And when that happened, my husband moved over to be his brother's caretaker, and then my sister came in to take over as my caretaker. So we had it coordinated a bit. And then when I came back to Seattle, my mom was my caretaker for a week or two, and then she went home and my dad came and he was my caretaker for a week. And by then, that was so late, I really didn't need a caretaker. I really could take care of myself. I was doing fine, moving around and everything. It's mostly just for company because my husband was still in Minnesota at the time. And then I couldn't do heavy work. Like I wouldn't be able to bring a basket of laundry downstairs, or I wouldn't be able to do the vacuuming or anything. And I didn't drive for like the first 3.5 weeks. So those types of things, it's more heavy work. It's nice to have another person there. But for taking care of your daily needs, I was doing fine. So to be a caretaker, the first few days in the hospital, I was sleeping a lot. And my husband was really just kind of on his own. He was sitting in the chair that was next to me. He probably played 1,000 games of solitaire. And because my eyes were sensitive, we didn't really have the lights on. We weren't watching TV or doing anything like that. Maybe he and I would chat for 20 minutes, and then I would snooze for 40 minutes. So for him, it was like he just had to kind of be on his own, quiet, entertain himself. So if you're going to be the caretaker in the hospital room, bring something that you can do independently that will keep yourself entertained. Just kind of be prepared for the person that you're with, just to be resting for most of the time. And then after my mom left, I was in the hospital for 4 more days. And my husband didn't have like his overnight bag set up for 4 days of not leaving my side. I told him it was okay if he wanted to go back, to the transplant house where the rest of our things were. But he just didn't want to leave me for that long. And, so it kind of depends on the personalities involved, but kind of like a recommendation to know what you're going to feel like, to know what you're wanting to expect. And if you're going to be in the hospital for that much time, pack yourself a hospital bag. Because I had one, but his wasn't completely filled with everything he would have needed. So if he was going to give you advice, I think that's what he would be giving you. And then, just kind of think about personalities, and if you have a couple of people who could take turns taking care of you, like what part of your recovery process would each person be the best fit for? And if you do only have one person, just plan to be relaxed and give each other grace and space, because you're going to be spending a lot of time together. So those are my thoughts about caretaking.